Good evening and welcome to the Pershore High School expansion consultation meeting to discuss the proposed expansion of Pershore High School as part of the reorganisation of the Pershore pyramid. This consultation has come about as a result of discussions between the County Council, the High School, Avon Reach Academy Trust and all of the first and middle schools within the pyramid. And tonight we want to explain the rationale behind and the proposals that have been tabled about the pyramid in general, but specifically about the impact of those changes on Pershore High School in the future. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Nick Young and I'm Chair of Governors at Pershore High School. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all the governors when I say that we are absolutely committed to delivering the best education possible for all the young people of Pershore. I'm going to hand over to Phil Hanson shortly, who will go through all of the proposals. But I would just like to say before I do that it's important that as many people as possible participate in this consultation, and Phil will detail at the end of his presentation the ways in which you can make your voice heard and you can contribute. Thank you for attending this evening or for viewing this presentation after the event, and I'd like now to hand over to Phil Hanson, head teacher at Pershore High School.
Many thanks, Nick, and welcome from me too. Just to give you a bit of background, initially with a few slides, these are standard slides that have been produced by the local authority. The schools got together a couple of years ago following changes that were approved in September 2019 to allow Pershore High School to take some Year 7 students and for a number of first schools to convert to primary schools. So there has been some pressure on this change for some time. Head teachers in all of those schools got together and decided that it was time to look at a more comprehensive change to education in the Pershore area, and Worcestershire Children's First supported that and have pulled together some of these slides which I'm showing you this evening. So currently in the situation we have 6 first schools compared to 11 in the historical situation, and it is proposed that they transfer to become primary schools with the closure of the middle schools and combination of first and middle schools combining together to produce a new primary schools. Pershore High School, from that respect, the changes that will affect us are due to pupil number increases. The proposals, therefore, are outlined on this slide, with obviously Pershore High School taking all of the Year 7 pupils within the area. And these proposals include some specific conversions of first schools into primaries, and, as I said before, amalgamation of first and middles or combinations of first and middles becoming primary schools. And outlined on this slide is who makes the decision based on the arrangements for those schools. In this case, you probably, if you're not aware, the RSC stands for the Regional Schools Commissioner, and that organisation makes decisions on behalf of academies. There are a number of options that have been put together as part of this consultation, and they are slightly confusing and may not be that clear. From a Pershore High School point of view, they all have the same outcome, which is that Pershore High School will take a full Year 7 from September 2023. The options describe different methods for getting to that position. Hopefully it's not too difficult to understand. but I do recommend that you look at the Pershore Education Journey Tracker. That is available on the Worcestershire website, and links are available on our website. That does make it clear. You can select your current school, what year group your children are in, and that outlines what the different models would have, impact the different models would have on their schooling. So I do recommend you use the Pershore Education Tracker. It is easier to understand than these three diagrams. But ultimately, whatever the option that is chosen as a result of this consultation, by 2023, Pershore High School will have a full Year 7. So this is what the new system would look like, with Pershore High School, the only high school in the area, and all of the other schools converting to become primary schools, with an indication there of how they're currently organised. What's most important for me is to talk to you about the implications of these proposals to Pershore High School. So I was going to outline what those implications might be. As you'll be aware, we welcomed our first cohort of 90 Year 7 students in September this year, which was a great thing to do. And obviously, as we've already said, by September 2023, we could have a full cohort of up to 282 students. It's important to point out that our pupil admission number is 282, but our current Year 8 stands at 222. So there is capacity for future house growth within the area within Pershore High School. So with current pupil numbers that are projected, fully realised, the school population could rise from 1,207 as it stands today to 1,510. If all of those projected pupil numbers appear within the system, and that is quite a big if. There are quite a few variables which affect movement between schools. So clearly what that will mean for us as a high school is we will need to recruit additional teaching and support staff to support those increased pupil numbers. There will need to be changes to school transport, or reorganisation of school transport to ensure that students can get to Pershore High School in Year 7 rather than to their current middle schools. And an important consideration from a high school point of view is that the economies of scale will give us, the larger numbers will give us, will enable us to expand our curriculum, and we hope to be able to offer additional optional subjects at GCSE and A level as a result of increased pupil numbers, and that would have obviously a positive impact on the education of the young people of the area. Well, we're currently a part of the DFE school rebuilding project. This is a very big project which will result in a significant rebuild of our premises, and we've already had discussions with the DFE team about the need to consider these additional pupils within any development that they propose, and so that work is already underway. We, together with the local authority, have asked the DFE team to undertake a formal feasibility of the site in order to identify the specific needs that we would have to accommodate these additional students. And we have also approached the DFE to discuss the capital requirements, how that building work and the additional facilities that we require will be funded, and that's an important consideration for decision makers, which in our case will be governors and then the trustees of the trust. And we've also discussed the need for revenue funding. School funding is lagged, which means that you don't get the income for the students that you have in 1 year until the following academic year. And clearly when you're expanding by a large number of pupils, that can be problematic. So there is a need for transitional funding to enable us to recruit the staff that we'd need to teach those students ahead of those students joining us and ahead of the funding that follows them. And so there's a discussion going on currently about how that will be provided. And as a leadership team, we have also begun to plan staffing requirements for this possible expansion in order to ensure that we have a suitable curriculum for a larger number of pupils as a result of any decisions that are made following this consultation. Initial discussions with the DfE, this is before any detailed analysis has taken place, suggest that we need some additional accommodation. 6 additional general classrooms are unspecified. Obviously, that would be curriculum dependent, and we would look at the timetable requirements and what we need in terms of those classrooms. An additional IT or computing room, an additional science lab, an additional 3D art, and an additional technology room. DfE initial suggestion was constructional textiles. We need to look at the finer details for all of these about exactly what we need. That was the initial work that they did as part of the DfE rebuild project. And they are looking into, as part of their feasibility, the size of the school hall, the size of the dining room, the kitchen, and various other shared spaces such as changing rooms and sports facilities to ensure that we would be able to accommodate these additional pupil numbers should the consultation or the decision makers decide as a result of the consultation that the changes would be made. In addition, we've been very lucky to be awarded some Section 106 money as a result of the housing developments in the area, and that's for improved sports facilities as a result of Section 106 money, and that will give us an additional AstroTurf pitch, new changing rooms, and potentially a new larger sports hall. So there is a lot of development going on, which will support the teaching and learning of the current students as well as any future students, which is an exciting position for the school to be in. Obviously, it's important that we look at the curriculum that we can provide, and what we will do at Key Stage 3. We will ensure that all students are taught by subject specialists, and they will follow our revised Key Stage 3 curriculum, which we introduced this September to welcome our first cohort of Year 7 students. As I mentioned earlier, the economies of scale that we will get from larger pupil numbers will enable us to continue to offer a broad and balanced curriculum, but hopefully to expand that with greater choice of subjects at GCSE and with larger year groups going through the school, and hopefully into the sixth form, additional opportunities for students in terms of post-16 study. And all our Year 7 students will study 2 modern languages. We intend to offer a choice of languages between French, German and Spanish. So students would study 2 out of the 3 languages as part of their Key Stage 3 and be able to take those on through the school to GCSE and on to A-level should they wish to. Obviously, a larger school requires additional pastoral support. We're very proud of the pastoral support we have at Pershore High School. We currently have a house system, and the school is subdivided into 3 houses, and this is a sort of smaller organisational unit, and each family belongs to a house. And that means that we can provide them with more specific pastoral care and get to know those students particularly well. And we intend, as a result of expansion, to create a 4th house to enable us to continue to offer high levels of pastoral support to larger numbers of students. And within that house system, we have vertical tutoring. It's a real key feature of our school where we have students of all ages mixing within the tutor group. We intend to continue with this. We really feel it's a great feature of our school. And obviously, as part of this expansion, in order for those tutor groups not to become too large, we will increase the number of tutor groups to keep the groups as small as possible to enable the tutors to provide the best possible pastoral support for their tutees. Alongside this, the consultation that I've just outlined, we also have to consult on our 2023 admissions policy. So for the purposes of admissions, we have to assume that the consultation proposals go ahead and that Pershore High School will take a full Year 7 in 2023, because that admissions policy has to be in place well in advance of that potentially happening. And so we're running a parallel consultation on this admissions policy that's available on our website. And that will allow for a full year 7 of up to 282 students. That's our pupil admission number. That's the maximum that we can take, and a year intake in 2023 of 192 students. That reflects the fact that we'll already have 90 students of that age group who will have joined us in year 7. Continuing into year 8, so with the addition of another 192, that would take us to our pupil admission number of 282 in that particular year group. Assuming that this goes ahead, that will be the final year where we would have a year 8 intake. The main intake year for the school from 2023 onwards would be from 2024 onwards, I beg your pardon, would be for year 7 only, with effectively in-year transition coming into year 8 only. Obviously, what we have to consult on this and have this in place in case these proposals go ahead. If they don't, then we can alter our 2023 admissions policy to reflect whatever the outcome of the consultation is. Okay, so that was a very brief outline of the implications for Pershore High School. We do encourage you, please, to, as Nick said at the start, to contribute to the consultation. There is a Q&A that you can use during this presentation while the presentation is still live. It won't, unfortunately, work through the recorded version of this event. However, you can email your views to our dedicated email address there on the screen. The deadline for any submissions to the consultation is midday on Friday the 26th of November. That's the same date as the local authorities consultation. You can respond either to Pershore High School about these proposals or to the local authority, and I include here the local authorities page regarding their element of the consultation. They will collate all of the responses that come to them and then distribute those to the various schools for consideration by the decision makers, depending on which body is making a decision on these proposals. So please do respond to us, do respond to the local authority, and links are available there, as well as on our website. You can link through directly to the WCF consultation. So in terms of the timeline, the deadline for consultation closing is on both of the admission policy and on these proposals is the 26th of November, as I've said. The governing bodies and trustees of those organisations will get together during November and December to review those responses to the consultation, and a decision will be made in February 22 by the decision makers, at whichever level they are. They will make that decision in February 2022, and the results of that will then be published alongside the timeline for any changes that are proposed. So I've whistled through those slides. I hope that you have found that information useful. Do please get in touch using that email address if you would like to discuss anything further, and we'd be very happy to read your responses to our consultation. Thank you very much for your time, and I will be in touch once decisions are made with a way forward. Thank you very much for your time.